Your Dabo wheels, remember to keep claiming these on a regular basis. You'll definitely want to make sure you're doing that. We've got cooldowns on these. You can only claim 6 chests per 22-hour period. So if you accumulate a large stockpile of these credits, you're going to get to the end of the arc and realize, oh crap, I can't redeem them all in time. And then you're going to have to start choosing things that you don't ordinarily want to get, you know. So make sure you're sort of claiming a little bit as you go, just to keep this number moving. Cookie Monster, thank you for the follow.
Cookie?
Not quite right. Don't quite have it. That was a little more Yoda than Cookie Monster, but TC says, I hear you can do a 3-2-3 pull that will fool the sensors. Well, I have exactly 800. Let's try it. If I do 3 of this. Hey, look, I got a Hammer Shard. And then if I do 2, well, that's only 5 that I've done. So now if I come back over here, it should only let me get 1 more. But we know how this goes sometimes. And hey, would you look at that? You can do it. Good suggestion. Good call out. So for the 20 of you watching, you just learned something. Yeah, you can sort of cheat the system here and get around the 6 chest limit by doing a 3-2-3 and actually getting 8 chests. And now I've got lots of away team trait XP, which I know Bel Air will be very pleased about. Farming all that extra trait XP. All right, let's talk about our supreme choice, right? Because there are a handful of rewards in here to pick, and they did add a few things after last time. So we've got Kira and Bashir, which is not a bad pack if you don't have them, or if this will actually tier up Bashir for you. This is a pretty good investment. You know, his ability increases your critical hit chance significantly against solo armadas. He also boosts the damage if he's the captain, so there's a little bit of, things you can do there as far as crew assignments. Kira, not so great. A little better for PvP, because at least she reduces their critical hit chance. And that's in a lower deck slot, so that's pretty good. So this is a decent bundle worth getting. Jedzi is okay, but, again, she's limited because her abilities only work against solo armadas. So you're kind of limited to what you can do with her. She does trigger off of health, which is the same thing that Cisco also triggers off of. So there's a little bit of synergy there in terms of how you're stacking your officers. But again, Chakotay is kind of pushing her out from that third potential captain slot or officer slot. Now we have a new group. The 3 Picard epic officers, they're not really that good for PvP. The strike team guys are way better. These are at best, a secondary option if you don't have strike team or if you want to run multiple ships of the same type. Like you got your strike team battleship crew out there, but your second best ship is also a battleship, and you're like, who do I use? Okay, maybe, Riker or somebody like that would be beneficial because he's going to apply burning as well. But for the most part, these guys aren't that great. This benefit does scale up well, but it's going to be a very long time until most players get that. And even at tier 2, I think it only goes up to like 900%, which is not a huge increase when you talk about all the other things that boost weapon damage. But like tier 3, tier 4, you start to see a lot more use. But realistically, by the time you get one of these guys to tier 3 or tier 4, you've probably found a way to unlock strike team by then. So definitely a secondary crew there. X-Borg faction credits are not a bad thing. 12,000 of them will get you a lot of research done. Something else to consider. You do get these daily, so it's not like it's a great thing. But if you happen to be somebody who, like, I won my bracket, right? And you got like 4 of these tokens, and you're like, how do I spend all 4 of them? this might be an option for you to try and get a lot of research done. The assimilated amalgam refit. So this one, which is not going to tell you what it does here, of course. All right, so we got the, let's go into the armory. We can look at all these together. Hey, thank TC for pointing that out. All right, so ship skins. We've got the amalgam. So this one increases the amalgam's bonus loot ability by 30%. So if you were raiding a base, your amalgam's got a, let's just round up to some even numbers. It's got a 10 million cargo capacity. And then, you're stealing extra loot above that 10 million cargo capacity. Whatever that extra loot amount that you were going to get is, you're getting 30% more on top of that. So if you end up, it's a regular sized base, you got your 10 million regular cargo capacity, you get an extra 100 million materials from your scoop. It's a nice 110 million bonus to it. Well, now you get a 30% increase on that 100 million. So now you actually get 130 million plus the 10 you were already getting. So now you're up to 140. It's not bad. If you're using the amalgam and you're raiding smaller bases and you're like, oh, I'm only getting like 15 million total, 10 that it can hold plus an extra 5 because this guy doesn't have much left. Getting another 30% there is only like another 1.5 million. It'll help you drain the bases faster, but obviously, much like the amalgam's ship ability, it does have that same diminishing returns. This one I would be okay with picking up. The one I'm less impressed by is the Mantis one. This one boosts the refinery payout for synthetic ions. Those are the research particles, the ones you get to boost your Mantis research, and hull fragments by 30%. Hull fragments are what you use for Strange New World officers, and this is the refinery payouts. So this isn't from doing the dailies. This is only from what you're getting out of the refinery. So if you go look at your Mantis, so right here, my tier 8 Mantis, I cash in this, I get 1,350. Well, if I get an extra 30%, now it's up to 1,750. You get a little bit extra out of it, but how often are you doing this refinery? And for how long? At some point in time, you've maxed all the rares and you're still just trying to get lucky and pull epics. So maybe you're still doing this, and maybe there's some return in there, but obviously there's a diminishing point on it. Now, I guess you could say, well, at least it'll turn into transporter patterns, so there's still some use there. But the other one, the synthetic ion one, this is the one that you're pulling your research particles. And once you get into your mid-40s and you have a higher level ship, you're not really using your Mantis so much anymore. It kind of goes on the shelf, right? Now you start using your ships with a bigger cargo capacity, so that way you can go ahead and use 5 Giorgio and Tal, go get your kills done faster, get your loot, get your 200k, 300k with whatever bigger ship you have. If you're using, if you've got your players higher levels are using their Talios and they're getting like 1 million or 2 million before they die. So the Mantis does have a much cheaper repair bill. So eventually you get to that point where, you're using the Mantis, then you just put it on the shelf for a while, and then eventually you can come back to it because it'll be cheaper to repair once you get it up a few more tiers, and do more of the research. And maybe this will help with that process, speed it along a little bit. But I don't know that it's one of those that's really like a necessity. So Denver Stone, you're going to get that refit. Yeah, I mean, if you get all the research and stuff done, the Mantis will, re-earn its spot in place of, whatever you were using, a Pilum or a Talios or even like a Valdor or something like that, or any like of the G5 ships, which are just way more expensive to repair. The Mantis will regain its spot once you go through and start really filling in all of the research, and this will help you move that along a little bit faster. When you start filling in some of this stuff, boosting your cargo and your shields and stuff. And the Mantis weaponry one really scales up pretty nicely in the higher levels here. If you keep pushing it along, now you're getting, over 300,000% bonus. Plus the Mantis itself has its own ship bonus, so it will get there. It's still going to take a while, but again, this can help make it faster for you. Bear Butt, thank you for the follow again. You followed me yesterday and then unfollowed me, which I'm not happy about, but you refollowed me, so I'm happy about that. Welcome on in. All right, then we got the projectiles that are also in the store. It is the Polaron beam, which increases critical hit damage by 20% against Borg enemies. That's not... It's very limited against just Borg. I mean, you do use critical builds against Borg, especially against like the expansion cubes and stuff and the solo armadas. So getting more damage out of that is okay. Nothing like earth-shattering, but it's an okay little boost there. The Borg cannon here increases hull health by 25% of base. Again, you've got so many other things adding to hull health. For example, my tier 8 auger had 5.98 million hull health, and I got this on my level 39 account because I wanted to see how much it would do. Its hull health went to 6.06 million. So I basically gained about 62,000 hull health from this. Is that going to make a big world of difference? No. But it's every ship. So, I mean, it's a little bit better. Would I have paid 50 bucks or $100 to get this? Definitely not. If I have, 2 or 3 of these tokens and I'm looking to pick which prize I want, I mean, it's better. It's something more than I had yesterday. And I forget, is this the third one? Yeah, this is the third one that's available. Increasing piercing against armadas by 20%. Boosting your piercing stats by 20%. The base values. Again, this is very, very minimal. And especially with some of these armadas that have these ridiculous piercing numbers or mitigation stats, you're probably not going to see or even notice much of a difference at all with them. So... Hey, what's going on, Louis P? Calamasta, thank you for the follow as well. All right, the other thing that is missing from here is Hugh, because I already claimed him, because anytime you can get Hugh shards, you should probably take him in this game. Even though he is sourceable through the Epic Armada chests, I probably get... I pull those chests every time I can, every few days. I probably get Hugh shards like once or twice a month. And I'm doing 5 or 6 pulls. I have terrible luck with getting Hugh shards out of that thing. So any chance you can get him 40 shards of Hugh, I'll take those all day. Armada directives, I mean, this is just kind of feeding right back into the loop. You probably spent a bunch of Armada directives to get the prize to win this. So if you want to go ahead and, 3 rares and 2 epics, okay. It'll kind of just dump it right back in for when the next time we have to do these. I like the regular one, the payout on the regular one's better than the payout here. It's 4 rares, but only 1 epic here. Which, going by the scoring system we had last time, 4 rares, they were 4,000 apiece, is 16,000, plus another 7,500 for the epic is 23,500, versus here, where you're getting 15 plus another 12 is 27,000 points. So you come out slightly ahead doing regular armadas, if you're going to do it that way. Hue shards seem like a waste. You got a third of the way to the extra 5% crit chance. But it's 5% this level, but what's it at the next level? And then what's it at the next tier? Plus, the higher you get him, the higher his stats go. And then he's not so much of a liability below deck as he is when he's just like a tier 1 officer, and now he's dragging the rest of the stats on your ship down, especially when it's a newer ship that only has 1 or 2 officer slots. So there is value to continuing to rank him up. PvP strike team crews, these are also something, if you don't have them, definitely want to consider getting them. If you don't have them and you have Hue already, I would say trying to pick up one of these would be better. If you don't have Hugh, trying to get him would be better. If you have both of them, and you're like, which one do I pick? Probably get more value out of upgrading Hugh than you would out of potentially upgrading one of these people. If you get them to tier 2, maybe you can make a case that it's better, depending on how much PvP you do. But in terms of, like I can upgrade him, but he gets a little closer. Or I can upgrade over here. I think I can, yeah. It'll tier up Garrick for me, and Damar gets a bit closer. The sourcing for these guys still isn't great. They are in the incursion store, but still not great. And then these two things over here just, hailing frequencies are like avatars to me. They have no in-game value, so I'm never going to recommend you pick something that's strictly cosmetic. So by the time you get Hue to the next tier, there'll be something else you need to kill hostiles instead. That's certainly possible. That is certainly possible. And again, it depends on how many tokens you have. Obviously, if you got 3 or 4 of these things, you can be a little more liberal and pick up a variety of things. If you only managed to just get like the one from your SMS and didn't get any from the SLB, it's going to be a harder choice for sure, and you're going to kind of have to figure out exactly where that's going to fit into what's going to impact your daily gameplay the most. If you are someone who goes out PvPing, or you're in a server or an alliance that's constantly at war, yeah, probably going to have a lot more PvP going on, and these guys might have a little more value for you. If you're somebody who just enjoys and is able to interact more with the NPC, the hostiles, Hugh may have more value for you if you're trying to get certain things unlocked still, ship blueprints, whatever. Maybe the Armada directives help you with that, get you more chest pulls to get more ship blueprints or something. Amalgam refits, not bad. Mantis refit, I'm not overly impressed with. So that'll kind of wrap up my thoughts on the supreme choice